How's it going, Lonnie? Obviously, last year you guys struggled offensively on the line, giving up a ton of sacks, and the run game wasn't particularly great. What are you guys doing in the early parts of practice to kind of try to start fixing those issues?
Working on techniques and fundamentals. Like there's no secret to why things happen. Um, Usually boils down to those two things. So you coach them better and you get those results.
This spring, what are you doing with your guys as far as mixing and matching positions? Is that an emphasis, or are you trying to focus in on certain guys at certain spots? How's that sort of working for you?
During the spring, I try to mix and match as much as possible. So we've been playing with a lot of different rotations, and we pretty much switch it up every day. There's been a few guys who play more at one position, but they're playing a lot of different positions.
Hey, Coach, you've got a lot of really talented freshmen in this room now. How are they performing so far in spring ball, and then what else are your expectations for them going forward?
I've been pleased with the freshmen who just got here. They should be still in high school. But what they have done is they work really hard to learn, one, what we're asking from the techniques and fundamentals, and now they got to put that together with the playbook. And those guys do extra work. They come in because they want to be good. So they've been working really hard at it, really pleased with that group.
Lonnie, obviously there's things that you guys couldn't control last year, and I know you would be the last person to make any excuses up when it comes to injuries. But what did last year teach you, and maybe teach some of these players as you guys, try to move on from last season?
Yeah. Biggest thing it taught me was build depth. So like spring ball and what Hell just asked, that's why we're stressing guys to learn different positions. We got to build depth. You got to have enough depth in the room when those injuries happen where you don't miss a beat. So that's the biggest thing is building depth, and everybody's got to understand you're one play away. If you're in that too deep, you're one play away.
With Josiah in particular, how has he come along in these first 6 or 7 practices? How many have y'all done it?
Yeah. Josiah's been doing really good. He's really gifted mover. He's a really gifted mover. So that stuff comes natural to him. And then what he's really done a really good job of is getting in the weight room and getting with Yemi and Luke and adding the bulk to his frame. So he's done a good job with football, with the nutrition, the weight room, just becoming that complete player. But he's doing really good. We're happy we have him.
Hey, Lonnie, three transfers coming in that most people haven't seen. Can you kind of give us a breakdown on, Torricelli, Aaron, and Kamar?
Yep. So Torricelli, it's another guy who's playing multiple positions. Again, trying to build depth, but he's doing well. He's got to learn, one, he plays one of his positions is center, so he's got a lot he's got to do as far as up front with the ID, so he's got a lot to learn, but he's been grasping everything pretty well. Been seeing steps from him every day. Aaron is a guy, again, he's got to go left to right, playing different positions, and he's been doing that well, playing tackle. He's got really good feet, and we've just been stressing him to keep improving on the other things. And then Kamar that's another guy. And again, all these guys, when I recruited them, told them, hey, you're gonna have to play multiple positions. So Kamar, he goes from right to left, left to right, and he plays center too. So he plays the guards, he plays the center, and he's doing a good job of it.
Lonnie, when you look at the guys that were either here last year, even some of the guys that are rising sophomores or guys that have transferred in, it just looks like this group just has so much more experience in terms of snaps played at the collegiate level.
Yep.
Have you noticed just the sense of maturity, and just what does this year's group look like in comparison to maybe where this group was a year ago at this point?
Yeah. So you look at just the guys who played last year who were freshmen, they got a chance to get a lot of snaps, and they saw a lot of defensive football. So now when they see it again, they're like, okay, I saw this last year. I remember this look. This is how we approach that. So we can move along a little faster with those guys and go to the next phase of things. So, and then you got the older guys like Rashawn. They've seen and Jakai, they've seen every look known to man, but just getting those younger guys, Kaysen too, like when he got reps last year, those guys have seen different things now. So you can build on that, and it's not level one now. We always say we got to get to level two, you know, so that's been the advantage of those guys getting those snaps.
All around you at wide receiver, running back, even quarterback, there seems to be so many new faces and just guys who are only been in the program for a month. How do you guys in the offensive line kind of talk to those guys about what you're trying to do and what their roles are in this offense as everyone's trying to kind of learn at the same time?
Yeah, so right now, and the big thing with spring ball is everybody's trying to earn a role. So I think that's the biggest message from like Coach Beamer, D'Lo. It's you got to earn this role, and you're carving out what you do on daily in these practices. That's the role you're earning. So I think everybody's aware of that, and one of our core values is competition. So these guys want to compete and they want to earn their roles.
Lonnie, how much has it helped having a guy like Greg Atkins, who's obviously an experienced, older veteran coach in the room with you? And is it kind of like a tag team effort? And, what's the biggest thing you kind of learned from him last year?
Greg is a good friend of mine. Greg is great to have in the room. He's coached 30-plus years. So anytime you got that type of knowledge around you to lean on, it's great. It's great. So I lean on Greg as much as the rules allow.
You mentioned the guys who played last year's first-year players, but Marquis would have been in that mix had he been healthy. Where's he at now with getting back up to speed and potentially being one of those guys that y'all are going to try to count on?
Yeah, he would have been one of those guys who would have played last year. So one thing Marquis did is when he did end up having surgery, he didn't, cry about it. He attacked the weight room. And that dude has changed his body. So proud of like the work he put in to get back. He's working his tail off right now. He's vocal. He's what we recruited, and we're getting to see it now, which is very pleasing.
Freshman offensive linemen don't often get on the field their first year. What makes it so tough as an offensive lineman coming from high school, and what does it take for someone to come in and then play, 9 months later at the offensive line?
Yeah, I think first of all, it starts with your mindset. You got to have the mindset that I'm going to go move this grown man from point A to point B against his will. Then I think physically they have to be strong enough. They have to have a body that can withstand an SEC season. And usually most guys aren't strong enough to block a 22-year-old SEC D lineman. We play against the best defenses in the country. So you have to have a grown man strength and mindset about you. So that's usually why they don't. The guys who can play usually come in with what I'll say an SEC body, and they have the strength to do it. And then the rest is just catching their mental up. Oh, you're good, Al.
With Tree, how has he progressed since y'all first got him in last year and up until this point? Where's he at with his development?
Yeah, he's doing well. So him and Tro, the thing they didn't get last year was a spring ball because they didn't get there to the summer. So just these guys getting these reps this spring is big. Like it's things like we kind of had to fast track him and Tro like that. Now I get to slow down and really teach him. So just working on his game, like getting him more detailed with his game. He's all up for a challenge. He's progressing well.
What have you been seeing from Kaysen Henry this spring? Obviously, he's a guy that's been banged up over the last few years, but what have you seen from him, the limited action he played last year and then in practice so far this year?
Kaysen's having a great spring. He's one of the leaders in that room. He works his butt off. He worked his butt off to come back from injury and is now back, and I'm happy he's back. But he's doing a good job for us this spring, and looks like the old Kaysen before the injuries.
The fan base would be upset if I didn't ask you what it's been like working with Sean Elliott and being able to be around him the last couple of weeks.
Sean's been a treat. You know, he's high energy. Got a lot of good ideas. He's done it again, like Greg. They've done it a while. Seen a lot of different things, especially in this conference. So it's been good working with him. I've really enjoyed it.